Okay, last Impact before Slammiversary, which takes place this Sunday, June the 8th. I like this show overall. As usual, I have a few complaints, but I'll get to those in a minute. I thought this Impact was a big improvement over the last few weeks in that there was a much better mix of video packages versus wrestling. As we all know, in the last couple of shows, there's been a whole lot of one and not much of the other, and frankly, this was really starting to piss me off, but this show finally found the right balance between the two. The matches were very good, and they had enough time for the most part. The main event could have been longer, but that's about it. I thought the final hype for the pay-per-view was pretty solid, except for one part in particular. AJ Styles' promo on Kurt Angle was awesome. You know, he showed a lot of intensity. He was in full-on babyface mode, and the crowd was into him big time. They did a great job of building up the King of the Mountain match, too. And those are the two big selling points of Slammiversary, the double main event. So the focus was right where it needed to be. Of course, they went and announced the women's match for the show as well. It's going to be pretty much what I thought. ODB, Gail Kim, and Roxy versus the Beautiful People and the new arrival that I mentioned last week. That's indie wrestler Mickey Knuckles. And I don't know a whole lot about her. I looked her up on some web pages. I did a YouTube search and found a few of her matches on here. I also found her appearance on Jerry Springer. You heard me right. Apparently, you know, she's worked mainly for Chikara and IWA Mid-South, and she's pretty hardcore. I mean, the matches I saw, she did some pretty sick stuff, and took one of the scariest bumps I've seen in a while too. And she also won the IWA South Queen of the Deathmatch tournament at one point, so that should give you guys a taste of what we can expect out of her. One thing though, the matches I saw from her were mostly, pretty brutal hardcore spot fests, so I don't really know what kind of a wrestler she is outside of that hardcore match environment. But with her in there, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the knockouts gets put through a table wrapped in barbed wire at Slammiversary. It'd be pretty interesting if TNA decides to go that route with her. Anyway, we also had the X Division King of the Mountain match, and this was a great match with a lot of cool spots. Everybody gave awesome effort, so I'm not going to take anything away from the match itself. My problem with it was pretty much the same problem that I've had with a lot of the concept matches that TNA has done lately, and I know I must sound like a broken record by now, but I'm going to say this again. It wasn't made to look important. They mentioned it in passing at the start of the show, and that was it. There were no promos from any of the wrestlers. They didn't put over at all the magnitude of them trying to earn a World Heavyweight title shot. They just threw the match out there. It was broken up with 2 commercial breaks. And the problem this creates is that when you present something like this, the message you're basically sending to the fans is that the match and the wrestlers involved in it are not that important. Stuff like this is why the X Division is so marginalized right now. And another problem was the Petey Williams thing. I mean, the first time he's been on TV in like a month, and TNA cuts him off in mid-promo and goes to a commercial break. Now, okay, I'm not going to crap on them for this one, because it was pretty obvious that they actually staged it that way on purpose, so they might be doing some kind of angle here where Petey starts to feel unappreciated by TNA or something like that, but this was really the wrong time to do it. I mean, again, I need to seriously caution TNA about the message it sends to the fans when they do this type of stuff. I mean, the build-up to Kaz versus Petey Williams has been practically non-existent, and then you go out of your way to make your X Division champ look like a complete nobody right after you just had Scott Steiner pretty much bury his opponent on the mic. I mean, what does that say about the importance of their title match at Slammiversary? Having said all that, the Kaz versus Petey Williams match is still going to kick all kinds of ass. It's just not going to feel important like it should, and that's a real shame. And speaking of stuff that doesn't feel important, what exactly has been the point of all these Eric Young videos? I mean, it's taken a month's worth of these things to basically say that Eric couldn't find Elvis, but still expects him to be at Slammiversary. They could have accomplished all that in 30 seconds. So, unless this was all building up to the Honky Tonk Man showing up on Sunday night or something like that, then all these videos will have been just an incredible waste of time that could have been better spent building up something much more important like the X Division title match. And after that, the only other thing that kind of bugged me about this show was the Booker T and Robert Roode thing, them teaming together in a tag match. That seriously needed to be set up beforehand. It needed some promos or some backstage interaction or something. I mean, I know Booker T is a heel now, but to suggest that he and Robert Roode don't still hate each other's guts is just a huge logic gap. Seriously. And as for the rest of the show, they added a new wrinkle to the Awesome Kong Fan Challenge thing, with several recognizable indie wrestlers showing up this week instead of just using an obvious plant in the crowd like they did the last 2 weeks. It was really cool to see Daphne again. I always loved her in WCW, so it was nice. It was nice that they're not just doing the same thing with this angle week after week. You know, they're changing it up now before it gets stale, and that's what's going to keep this thing from turning into the girls' version of the Master Lock Challenge. So good move on TNA's part with that one. I'm not sure where this angle is going to go from here. It could be used as a launching pad to debut Chantel Taylor. That would be my guess, because she just signed a contract recently. And you could see her in the crowd during the fan challenge for the last 2 weeks. So that's got to be coming up soon. And I just checked TNA's website a few minutes ago, and apparently they're going to be having another Kong fan challenge at Slammiversary. So if Chantel Taylor is going to debut, you know, that would be a great time to do it. So we'll see what happens with that one. And of course, throughout the night, there were a bunch of vignettes at Jay Lethal's bachelor party. And normally, I don't like it when TNA does these types of things because they're almost never funny. But these vignettes were actually pretty entertaining. You know, they had Christy Hemme pop out of a big cake, looking all sexy and everything. Man, I cracked up when they had Shark Boy throwing up in a potted plant. I got a kick out of that. I did not need to see a strip dancing Kip James. You know, that made me want to throw up in a potted plant. But overall, this was some funny stuff. But one thing though, it did get me wondering exactly how much time TNA is going to be allotting to this wedding angle at Slammiversary. You know, it's a 3-hour show, 6 matches, and this. So they're probably going to be devoting a fair amount of time to it. So I just hope that they've thought this through carefully, because I got a feeling that once Ace Young starts singing, the fans in that arena are going to turn on this thing pretty quickly. But however long it takes, I just hope they put over Sanjay Dutt in a big way. They teased that he was going to have some big announcement at the wedding, so that could be it. Anyway, that was Impact for the week. So in the 3.5 minutes I have left, let's run down Slammiversary real quick. First of all, we've got Kurt Angle and AJ Styles, and this match has so much build-up. So much build-up. You might be able to question the execution of that build-up at times. I certainly have, but the fact is, this Angle AJ Styles storyline has played out over months and months. The seeds of this feud were planted at Bound for Glory last year when AJ and Tomko won the tag team titles. You know, these guys have every reason in the world to hate each other now, and I would order Slammiversary to see this match alone. You know, we've got the King of the Mountain match. That match is always awesome. You've got LAX versus Team 3D. You know, those teams have had some great wars last year, and this time it's way more personal than any of those matches were. You've got Kaz versus Petey Williams. There was no build-up for this match, but I guarantee you the match will kick ass. You know, if you're a fan of the knockouts, like I am, then you've got the 6-woman tag. You've got Mickey Knuckles in ring debut. You've got the Kong Fan Challenge. You're probably going to debut Chantel Taylor there, and she's awesome. You know, you've got the Jay Lethal SoCal Val wedding. You know, a bunch of wrestling legends are going to be involved in that. Jake the Snake's going to be there. You know, this could be where Sanjay finally turns heel, and that's another storyline that's been building up for months. You know, plus Abyss is back, and who knows what he's going to be up to. I mean, this show has something for everybody. I don't see why anybody would want to miss it. Just because the build-up for parts of it were lackluster, it doesn't mean the card isn't great. It doesn't mean the matches aren't going to deliver. I mean, do you really want to be the one who missed out on Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles? That match alone is worth $30. Order Slammiversary. I'll talk to you guys next week.